too. It's tough. Attendance is always an issue, whether we're, on NTI or hybrid. It's in attendance every year. And now you add the virtual participation element to it, and that's made it even more difficult. And then progress monitoring, I feel like, has been the bane of my existence since I started teaching. I appreciate it and I see its value and I want to be good at it. And I just feel like I struggle to master it. So I have not reached 80% yet at that. So at LaRue County, we've had some success with learning labs, having students come in small groups. Home visits were successful, staying in just really frequent contact with calls and text to parents. In our English department, we started using abridged versions of text. That's been helpful. Screencastify has been a lifesaver. Common Lit has been the one consistent thing we've been able to use to progress monitor, and it's worked great. Google Forms for behavior has worked well. We've made some audio libraries that have helped. And then, like Grace talked about, the co-taught lesson plans, we started using that this year, and it has made collaboration so much easier. So that's what we do over here.
Thank you, Savannah. And if you are sharing something like this on our slide, as long as if we can view it and not really edit it. So when I go to click on whatever resources that Savannah may have provided here, then I can just make a copy and tweak it however I need to. Appreciate that, Savannah. And thank you for turning your camera on when it's your time to talk. Only if you're comfortable doing that, feel free to turn on your camera when it's your turn. And so I know Karen, I don't think she made it, but she did work on this slide earlier. So, but if she logs in later, somebody holler and we can get back to her slide. Miss Amy?
Okay, I've just recently switched schools. So I went from North Hancock to South Hancock. Just did that in January. So working with my co-teachers at South Hancock is a new experience. So far, it has been going extremely well, I think. But just trying to navigate that at South Hancock is just a new experience in itself. We went 1 week in a hybrid model, and now we're back virtual. So we're just trying to navigate that in general. But traditionally, it's been a struggle to balance co-teaching with schedules, multiple grade levels, student needs, and content areas. Just at South, I'm a 3 through 5 teacher. Coming from North, I had kindergarten through 5th in all areas. So that has always been a struggle, trying to fit in the co-teaching, teaching all areas, and trying to make sure that I meet all my students' needs, and making sure that they get everything that they need, and scheduling all of that has always been a struggle for me. Ensuring that the progress monitoring from the general education classroom, especially now that they have gone virtual, matches the IEP goal is also kind of a struggle for me, because I want to try to utilize what's in the classroom as much as possible so that I'm not doing double work. And so I try to pull as much as I can what they're already doing, because I don't want the students to have to do double work either. So what I've tried to, that's been successful so far as progress monitoring, I have an individual Google Classroom for each one of my students. I have been able to bring in individual students in our small groups whenever we're able to. I've had individual Google Meets as necessary. And then for accommodations, I've been making videos of assignments using Screencastify and Cami so that I can provide that accommodation of a reader. And then I think the bottom of my slide kind of got dropped off there a little bit, is using the speech tools in Google for the scribe, and making sure that I teach that accommodation even at an elementary level, so that they're able to use that so that they can scribe for themselves.
Thank you, Amy. Lots of great ideas. I hear Screencastify seems to be a good strategy to use for modeling and explicit instruction for asynchronous work. And we have Ms. Ashley next.
Hey guys, I am a teacher at LaRue County High School. I teach freshmen in Algebra 1. I work with sophomores in geometry and juniors in English 3. This year for me, geometry is a new content area that I have been placed in as a co-teacher. And for me, it's a struggle with, since I'm not, math certified and it's been a minute since I've had geometry, I really struggle with knowing the content well enough to break it down and then share it with my students. And so I kind of joke around with them and let them know, like, I am learning this as we are, as you're learning it. And so I want to be comfortable enough with the content so that I can modify it successfully so that they can be successful in the classroom and have access to the content, to the fullest extent that they can. So I really struggle with that, especially when contents change. For me anyway, I never feel like I'm in the same place twice. But what I've done to be successful, I've updated.
Oh, Ashley, you got muted. I'm sorry.
I was just trying to pull up my slide. I've updated a little bit since I typed into that the other day, but what we've done virtually that I feel like has been really helpful for our sophomores is that instead of posting a bunch of things into Google Classroom, like I felt like it got kind of messy, and then you've got all the dates and you're scrolling down to try to find things. And I feel like organizationally, sometimes it's difficult, and I'm sure there's better ways to do it and ways to hide things and stuff. But what we did is we created one file, like one assignment in like the Google Slides. And so it was kind of a living document that we added to as we progressed through NTI, and it would be broken down per slide. And it would say like, number 1, first you must watch this video and take notes. And so we did the Screencastify videos and they followed along and did notes. And then we would use programs like My Open Math or Khan Academy, or if we had to use worksheets, we would make Google Forms to go along with them to input their answers so they could get that immediate feedback. I felt like that, was pretty important for math since it's such a real-time content, like they need that immediate feedback. Are they doing it right so they can progress to that next problem? Those programs are helpful with that. And then if they were stuck or if they had problems, we would use those live Google Meets to address those concerns and go over problems that we noticed were missed, quite often. But, I'm taking my own notes along with the kids, with the videos. And our department also, Nikki, our department chair, we had money in the budget. She found a really great program called Clark Illustrative Mathematics, I think is what it's called. And she can elaborate that more later. She's in this training. But that's been really helpful to give us more fun, hands-on activities where we can break them into small groups in person and do less worksheet and really less virtual while we're in person, and try to do more engaging, fun, math-related content that way.
Was I talking the whole time and I was muted?
Yes,
Oh, great.
I was
So-
about to say something, but I didn't see your mouth moving.
Blooper. Sorry about that. I just want to refresh this. So I want to make sure that what I'm sharing has the updates that you all did during our 5-minute work time earlier. Okay, so I'm back to present mode and we have Miss Pam.
There we go. I'm trying to start my video. Oh, there we go. Hi, I'm Pam Cassidy, a special education teacher at Auburn School in Logan County. I work with grades 6 through 8 with the ELA and social studies classes. The biggest challenge that I face right now is just making sure my students are getting the content they need in these middle school classes while also providing the appropriate accommodations and SDI and modifications while virtual and or hybrid. There's just so much content that they cover in middle school that, you know, the teachers are really concerned that they get it, but this year it's kind of hard to get it all in. The things that we've tried, or I've tried on Edgenuity, we use Edgenuity a lot, and sometimes I can just modify it by removing some of the work because it's overwhelming when they see like 5 things that they have to do. But if you take out a couple that are non-instructional, and I talk to the teachers about that, about what we should keep and what I can take out, that gives them a little less to do, and that modifies it in a fairly easy way. And I host Zoom meetings for students that I would normally pull to the resource room to take tests and do work together. So if we have an 8th grade social studies test, I'll say, hey, we'll do that together on Friday, as we would normally in a small group. We'll do it virtually.
All right, so I'm the virtual teacher for 6th, 7th grade students, as well as the 6th grade special ed resource teacher. We're using Edgenuity. 5 of my 30+ students are on IEPs, and there's 3 with 504s. So this year has been a challenge. They've been using all of these kids have been using Edgenuity since October, and will continue through the rest of the year. That's what their parents have chosen. So in working with them, like Pam said, I've reduced things for the students. I've had Google Meets with them, working on quizzes together. I've also sent home or dropped off my progress monitoring packets with the Ames web material that we use. And I'll call parents, and if they're fluency kids, the kids will read over the phone to me. And then the parents will do the timings for either the writing or the math. And then they just take a picture of it and text it to me. All depending on the lighting, whether I can read what's written there or not. But it's been successful that way, because I can't always, and the parents kind of know every Friday this is coming. Some of them will even text me ahead of time, can we do it today? So it's been helpful doing that.
I'm trying to keep my comments to a minimum, so I want to be sensitive of your time during this hour. But do we have Miss Ashley here right now?
Yes, I'm here.
Yay, okay.
I'm Ashley Cottrell. I'm a special education teacher at Lurie County High School as well. This is my first year in special ed. Previously, I have been in general education. So this is definitely a curveball, considering that we are virtual and the circumstances. On top of that, I was given seniors, so working with them on their transition plans and writing IEPs, especially at the beginning of the year, was extremely difficult because I had never laid my eyes on a large majority of these students. On top of that, I am doing the virtual students for the freshmen as well as the seniors. So I have found that it's more difficult to create a relationship with those students because they are not coming in and you're not getting to meet with them. Some of the different things that I have really tried to be successful, we're doing Google Meets. We'll do them as a group. We'll do them in small groups, individually, whatever those students prefer to meet their needs. I send emails. I have a Google Classroom that I'm communicating with students with on as well. There's multiple phone calls, multiple texts, just to keep in contact with those students. Seniors are a little bit harder to chase down and they don't necessarily want their parents involved. So that's been a little bit different. And we also offered in-person learning labs So we offered that to students that were coming in school, but we were also offering it to those that are virtual that needed a little bit of extra help. The hardest thing has been getting those kids that are virtual to stay in contact, because many of them see it as a great way to just escape and not continue to remain in contact with you. But so overall, it's been a learning experience for me, and it's definitely different than what I have done previously.
Thank you, Ashley. We have Ms. Morgan. Morgan, you're muted.
Go figure. Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes, perfect.
I'm also a first-year special education teacher here at LaRue County. I work with Savannah and both Ashley, Carter, and Cottrell. And I think for me, the biggest thing has just been getting to know the students when I don't get to see them very often. I work with juniors. I have a couple of co-taught classes where there's a couple of freshmen, and I think one with a senior in it last semester, and just really kind of getting to know them and knowing how I can help them without ever really getting to see them face to face. And like one of the things Ashley had just mentioned was like the in-person learning lab. The kids, when they would come in for those couple of hours a day, would get a lot of stuff done, and we could really help them through that. But if they didn't come in and they weren't communicating with me, that was where I would get a little frustrated and maybe not do the best, or maybe not even know how to best help them. So between Google Meets, phone calls, text messages, emails, the in-person learning labs, those are the main things that I've done, that we've done here to try and help these students during this time. But it's been a struggle when, they're not communicating with you, and if you can't get a hold of them, you can't get a hold of them. And so that's kind of where, as a first-year teacher, any first-year special ed teacher, I've kind of struggled with knowing kind of what to do and where to go and what avenues I can take to get in touch with my kids. So.
Thank you, Morgan. And Miss Vicky. Vicky, can you hear us? Okay. She may have to take care of something real quick. So if she gets back, please let me know so we can get her to go back up there. And Miss Becky?
Hi, I'm Becky Gaynor. I teach fifth grade at South Hancock. And as Amy Carmen was telling you earlier, she just joined our staff in January. So bless her heart, coming in the middle of a year, and as we are exploring how to do co-teaching. I think the biggest struggle I have with the co-teaching idea, and by the way, I'm very excited about what it is going to bring, but getting there has got some hurdles we've got to overcome. I think that the time and the materials are the biggest problem for effectively planning, modifying, implementing, along with that reflecting and revising, keeping in mind engaging lessons. And so that's of concern. I have gone on and decided to go back to a reading series. We have Journeys, and it's a good series, in order to have easier management of materials, in order to allow Amy to have access to everything she needs to modify. And so she's done a really good job of all the modifications she's done. But I do feel like I really have to stay on a path where I'm used to being able to maybe go a different direction or whatever. So it's a matter of I'll learn, just so it'll be manageable by our special ed teachers. And kudos to our special ed teachers out there.
Hi, I'm Kira Hess, and I teach special ed K through 2 at South Hancock. And I've added some things too to this slide, but I'll just be brief. Some things that continue to be a struggle, which I've played both sides of the fence with co-teaching. I've actually been a gen ed teacher through co-teaching, and I'm on my my first full year as a special ed teacher going into co-teaching, and it's different. But virtually, I think just the scheduling in general, a lot of people have mentioned the internet access and kids not being able to complete their work, or just providing the correct and adequate instruction due to other circumstances is a struggle. Having split classes and multiple classes, and kids just, it has to be strategic when we place kids in certain rooms. And, to me, if they have an IEP, they might not necessarily need co-teaching, but I think, the scheduling of classes and time need to be very strategic and on point. Another thing is progress monitoring. Again, if they don't have access to internet, it's hard to collect the correct data if we don't get to see them. Another thing that I would like to add is materials and the consistency between classrooms. It's not the same. So as a special ed teacher, you might be doing one thing and using one material in this classroom, and then you have to go to another classroom and completely use something else. So sometimes that's hard to juggle. But what I've tried is I share the workload, and I'm willing to do whatever for my teachers. And virtually, we try to do the small groups. The reading groups are pretty successful. And when we are in person, we do really well with looking at the data and grouping kids. I actually shared with Tiffany Tyndall, and so we collaborated together on the slides as well. So she has some of my answers as well on her slides.
Thank you, Kira. And we have Miss Jennifer.
Hello, it's good to see everybody on here this afternoon. I'm principal at South Hancock, and you've already met a few of my teachers. I'm excited to be on here to listen to the different ideas, but also the struggles that other teachers are going through. Unfortunately, I hate that we have to go through those struggles, but I think it's always good to see that commonality, those things that we share, and sometimes even when it's the rough things, because it's things like this that we can kind of come together and generate some ideas and learn from each other. So shout out to all these teachers on here. You guys, all those words that we came up with earlier, you are the picture of all those things. So especially during this year. But what continues to be a struggle at our school is a lot of things you guys have talked about, providing that targeted instruction for all of our learners, especially those with needed accommodations. We live in our school is in a very rural area. And so we have a lot of connectivity issues, Wi-Fi issues. Those students who are hybrid learners this year have actually only been in school 10 days this entire school year. We've only been able to do the hybrid learning format for 5 weeks at different points during the year. So most of the time they've been 100% virtual. And so that lack of Wi-Fi has been very difficult. And then to be able to provide interventions for our students who need them as well, who are learners at home, that has been very hard. Our district has been able to allow us to bring small groups in. So that's been a success for us when we're able to do that. We try to be very purposeful and target students who have those connectivity issues, but also who desperately need those supports at home in the setting at school. So we've tried to target them and then just provide that collaborative planning between our resource teachers and our regular ed teachers. And, they've done an outstanding job this year, and we talk about it all the time. I think the collaboration has just intensified this year because, you know, we're all trying to stay afloat. And so we've really tried to lean on each other. And I'm sure a lot of the teachers on this meet have seen that as well. I hope they've seen that, that we have, you know, be firmed up our collaborative efforts to be able to learn from each other and survive.
Thank you. I appreciate different perspectives coming from different leaders and, you know, different levels within the schools and the districts. And also just a reminder before we end today, we're going to go into breakout rooms of just 3, maybe 2 people, so you can share your takeaway. So whatever resonates with you the most, don't forget to jot them down and we'll get to share them here before we end. And we have Miss Amy.
Sorry, that's me. Can you all see me?
Yes, thank you for turning your video on. Oh, you got muted. Amy, you're still muted.
Is that better?
There. Yeah.
I'm sorry. I didn't do my homework, so when I jumped on today, I kind of had glanced through the slides, and so I was trying to think of maybe a few things that weren't on there. So things that continue to be a struggle that maybe we haven't talked about yet, or maybe I haven't heard. But I'm sorry, I'm from South Hancock too, so I'm part of Miss Howell and that group there. So we are a rural area, and so we don't have a lot with internet. So I have had 9 out of my 18 students that don't have internet. So that has been a struggle for me. I've had a couple that have gotten internet since Christmas. So that's helped a little bit. But something that has helped us is, you know, our school got Chromebooks for most of the students, 4th grade and up. And so we make flash drives now. After we record our videos or our lives and we record those, then we will put those on the flash drives and their parents will come pick those up. So that has been something that's, you know, helped for those that don't have internet. But time has been one of my biggest struggles. And this is my 3rd year teaching in my 3rd grade. And this is my 3rd time to move kind of schools too. So I feel like I'm always starting over, and then to start over again during this time has really been a challenge. And so just trying to manage my time, because I know, you know, just a normal year is a lot of time for a teacher. And so this year it feels like it's been doubled, if not even tripled. But part of that's probably my fault too. So I was trying to see what else I have on here. Something else I just struggle with. I just feel so scatterbrained this year. I just feel like, you know, we go back and forth from hybrid to virtual, and it just, you know, I got to get packets for this child and do this for this child and this for this child. And then, okay, I got to jump on and meet this kid at this time. And I just feel like, you know, I'm making lists and lists and lists and times, and I just feel scatterbrained. And so that's something I have struggled with this year. But anyway, I didn't have much else. I don't think that anybody else hadn't already covered.
Well, thank you, Amy. And I like this part where you mentioned keeping downloading all recordings and videos to flash drives for students. It's another great idea. And Miss Michaela.
Hi, I'm Michaela Knight, and I'm a special education teacher at Franklin Simpson High School in Franklin, Kentucky. This is my first full year teaching. I just graduated from Murray State. Something that's been really hard for me is making sure all of these students complete their work and their grades are good, and that they're also getting the correct accommodations and modifications, whether they're in person or virtual learning. I've also had a difficult time doing progress monitoring. So some of our kids are hybrid, and then they have so much to do that we really don't have time those 2 days they are in school to do a lot of progress monitoring while we're here. So we've been having to get kind of creative in doing that. What I've tried to do to kind of keep my students on track is to implement like a weekly to-do list for them and to update them with their assignments, their missing assignments and their grades. That way that they're always informed and that they know what they need to do for the week and they can kind of mark it off. And if they bring back the paper at the end of the week and they have everything marked off, then they get a candy reward. And I've only been doing this for about 2 weeks, but it's been good for some students.
Thank you, Michaela. I'm going to stop share for a second and want to make sure that I have my slides in the right order or it's updated. Okay. So what happened to...
Josh, we realized that somehow it skipped your slide because we were in alphabetical order. So we were on the back side trying to make sure that we didn't do it by accident.
No,
but we think it was a glitch in the system.
So do I just go to Josh's slide now? Are we good there, Bobby?
I think so. Yeah, I don't see it's a skipped slide. It's active.
All right, then I'm going back to sharing that screen and here we go, Mr. Josh.
Okay. No, that was my fault. I didn't get registered till late, and I had to go in and just make mine. But my name is Josh Jaggers. I'm a special education teacher, also at LaRue County High School with the firm of Ashley Morgan in Savannah, and so I'm with all of them. But I'm and we've all got a few years together under our belts with one another, working really well with each other. And I'm, nothing I put on there is really anything earth shattering. That's anything different than what's already been covered. But I guess kind of a silver lining in all this. And I was just talking to Miss Carol Brown, Director of Special Education for E-Town and was once upon a time ours as well. Silver lining in all this that I've found that there's been a whole lot of great deal of good with this for some of our students, I believe. I have I'm full-time virtual. So my entire caseload is they've chosen the virtual route, not to come to school on a regular basis, even when we were in school. And I've got a boatload of credit recovery students as well. And, but a lot of them have kind of found their zen, so to speak, I think, as well with this, that they've worked really well from home, just kind of I don't know if this sounds right or not, but let me have my stuff and then let me work with you independently and without being maybe in a big classroom with a lot of other students, to where obviously attention and loss of focus is a big deal with many of our kids across all grade levels. But I've had several that are just killing this thing, to be quite honest with you. And then there's others that aren't. I mean, some of them I've kind of communicated with all of them, and I communicate with them every day, send out something, and I've kind of given them the whole ultimatum of, look, if I don't hear back from you, that's fine, but I better see that you're staying on top of your assignments on a daily basis and that it's quality work. Or if you're not doing that, stay in constant contact with me, so then I can, help me help you. To quote Jerry Maguire, if you're not coming in, let's try to make the best of this situation through Google Meets, just being on the phone, do some breakout rooms with some of them. So for the most part, they've all been good at doing one and or both of those. And we've had several that decided to come in, even though they've decided to be on the whole virtual track. They come in and spend a couple hours, a couple days a week, and kind of rambling there. But there's been some silver linings with all this. Some have kind of found their niche, I believe, as well, as another form of instruction and differentiated instruction at that, I guess you could say.
Thank you, Josh. And small groups, even virtual with 5 to 6 kids, makes a difference compared to having the whole group at one time all the time.
Absolutely. I was one of those kids. I know that for sure. I'm 39 and I still am.
Thank you, Josh. And we have Miss Amy.
I've already done mine.
Grace.
Now we're on Kim.
All right, I'm Kim Cruz, and I'm fourth grade general ed at
down,
South
Cheryl.
Hancock.
Yes.
Can you hear me okay? Okay, I'm fourth grade at South Hancock Elementary. I'm the general ed teacher, and this is my first year co-teaching. So I co-teach with Amy Carmen, who presented earlier. And I think it's been going wonderfully when we are in school. But like Jennifer said, we haven't been in school but maybe 5 weeks, I think, this whole year. So we're back to virtual. And I think the biggest struggle is just the lack of participation from kids that just drop off the grid for one reason or another. And several of them are our special ed students. It may be because of connectivity issues. It may be because of lack of parent support, or sometimes it's just parents don't know how to work with their kids. So one of the things that Amy has done in our co-teaching is provide the accommodations on a flash drive. She's posting it to my Google Classroom as a material, but for those kids that can't access Google Classroom, they have their accommodations sent home on flash drives. So I've heard from parents that are really trying that has been a big help, so they know what to do with their child. And then Jennifer mentioned bringing in targeted students. A lot of those have been our special ed students, and that's been wonderful for those kids that just don't have the parent support at home. That's helped greatly. And then just scheduling the daily live Google Meets for kids that are struggling at home and don't know what to do. We have a daily time that they can hop on and get one-on-one help with the teacher.
Love it. One-on-one help. Love it. Thank you, Ms. Kim. We have Betty Jane.
So one of the biggest struggles that I've had is what a lot of people have mentioned was monitoring progress, especially like has been mentioned with flipping back and forth between in-person and virtual. Obviously, it's a lot easier to monitor progress when they're right there with you. But even on the hybrid model, only getting them 2 days a week, it's hard to keep really good track of that progress. And then the kids that are virtual, or when they move back to virtual, monitoring progress gets really tricky because we have so many without internet, or parents are working and they can't get them on during the school day. So that's been a real struggle. And so without the progress monitoring, then differentiation becomes very difficult because you feel like you're guessing to kind of know where they're at, especially at the K1 level. Oh, I forgot to mention that I'm K1 math and science. So at the K1 level, you rely so much on the parents, and with a lot of working parents, it's really, really hard. So even when they turn in work, you don't know how much the parents have helped and how much the kid was able to do unless you can get them on some of that live time. What we have tried that has worked. So I work with another teacher who teaches the same group of kids reading and writing. So we were able to do small groups that on Monday and Tuesday, every kid has a reading small group. And then on Wednesday and Thursday, every kid has a math small group. So the 2 days that I don't have math small groups, I'm able to meet one-on-one with kids. So what we did was we offered up to all of our parents, if you would like your kid to have a one-on-one, let us know and we'll schedule them a time. And then some of the ones that were really struggling that didn't reach out, then we reached out to them and asked them if they could join us for some one-on-one meets. And we've seen a lot of progress with that. And that's helped a lot with progress monitoring, because some of these kids I'm getting to get live on in a small group or one-on-one like 3 times a week. So that's helped a lot. And so working with another teacher has helped us to be able to have the time for those one-on-ones. But that's it.
Thank you, Betty Jane. Appreciate that. We got a lot of great ideas that's captured on this slide. I apologize in advance that we're going to go over a little after 5, But if you have prior engagement after this, I understand if you have to leave already, but if you can stay with us, we'd really appreciate that. And make sure that you check out the slide all the way to the bottom where you could see the additional resources that we included there. That's as a reference for you based on what you have entered on that one question survey. And we have, I think, 5 people left, and we have Miss Kim.
She said she's still having some audio issues.
Oh, that's right. Thank you for sharing that. So we'll go on to Miss Katie.
Hi, I'm Katie Ross. I teach special education at Auburn Elementary in Logan County. I have 11 students in kindergarten on my caseload, and the other 4 are in 3rd grade. So I have 2 grade levels, but primarily kindergarten. My biggest struggle this whole year has been accurate progress monitoring. Like I can, when we're hybrid, I do really well, but when we're virtual, it seems to get very difficult very fast. I have to rely heavily on parents. We had a great family resource opportunity come along where our entire school, if they did not have internet, was offered a hotspot, and then we checked out Chromebooks. So I feel like all of my students have access to the internet, but it's been difficult to progress monitor or get parents to schedule the Zoom or get on a Zoom with me. So what I have found is Google Forms, because they can do it on their own time. I send them what I need, and if they're going to participate, they're going to send it back. If they're not going to participate, then I'm just not going to get it back. And I've just kind of had to swallow that and just realize that that's the reality. But 3rd grade is much easier with navigating the computers independently. I don't have to rely as much on their parents. They're great about getting on Zooms. I do a lot of progress monitoring one-on-one with Zooms, and I do assign some stuff on Google Classroom, but I do have some guilt about doing that. Just they're already getting so much while they're virtual. I feel like I'm just like adding more to it. And so I do have a little bit of guilt. But I am happy to say that we returned hybrid this week, and I'm down to 1 virtual student. So I have them all back in the building for the time being, at least twice a week. So I'm just going to hold on to it for as long as I can.
Thank you, Katie. We'll hold on to our celebrations, and Google Forms are fabulous. Thank you. We have Miss Kara.
Hi, I'm Kara Stilley. I teach primary special education at Russell Springs Elementary. Of course, I struggle with a lot of the same things that everyone else is, but co-teaching across multiple grade levels has been more difficult, especially virtually. We have just kind of dealing with our regular ed teachers, their schedules may change. And then like the unpredictability of whether we're going to be in school. Like many other districts, we started out virtual, then we went hybrid where all of our elementary schools came, then we went back to virtual, now we're back to hybrid. So dealing with that and everybody in trying to, our regular ed teachers are wonderful to work with, but everybody's kind of in the same boat as we're just trying to get through it together. But they've always obviously had to make changes with what worked and didn't work. And then that might change the schedule for me, or trying to go in their classrooms and things like that. So, and we've still been, obviously with special ed, we have to carry on and place kids as needed or change things. So, our caseloads are still ever changing, just like in a normal school year. So trying to adjust to that. But like many others, we were hybrid this week. And so kind of like she said before, I'm going to hang on to that and trying to get as much done and communicate with my teachers as much as possible that we're all in the building at the same time. So us and the kids. So that's been good, and kind of made it a little more positive this week, and kind of can all kind of communicate a little better.
Good things that we appreciate now. And we have, also, before I forget, we have, if you have to leave early, I should have said this earlier, let us know. That way we can email you the evaluation form so you can get your ELAP credit that will get automatically emailed to you after filling out the form. And Miss Tiffany.
Hi, I'm Tiffany Tyndall. I'm a gen ed, regular ed teacher. I teach K1 and teach all subjects. I teach with Kira Hess, and we do a lot of collaboration. We started out together last year, and we kind of eased into things from fall down into the Christmas, and then after Christmas, we hit the collaboration hard starting in January, all the way up until March when we were out of school. So we had a couple months of where we were really just getting in our groove and doing things. I thought we were doing things exceptionally well, and then we had to go virtual. So we started out this year, and we just started doing the best we can to utilize what we had learned in this January and February and those months, and translate that into a virtual setting. So some of the struggles, finding a way to schedule in the whole group, the small group, and the one-on-one, and doing that collaboration in those groups. We've scheduled whole group times for the main lesson. We have small group times from skill-based work and one-on-one times from more specific targeted skills in reading, especially. Parents are logging the students on a minimum of 3 times and sometimes up to 6 times a day. Now we keep everything, the lessons 15 minutes. We don't go an extended amount of time, because especially if kindergarten and first grade, if you go after longer than 15 minutes, you've lost they're just not with you anymore. So, so they are on anywhere from 3 to 6 times a day working in small groups or in the whole group lessons. But trying to schedule in the co-teacher in the whole group lesson and then allowing some breakout time to happen with small groups is almost impossible, because Kira does work with 3 teachers, collab with 3 teachers. So that's really tough on her. But what we have done and what we've tried to be successful is we collaborate with grouping students using data from Ms. Hess and from assessments, different types of assessments, MAP, other data, and we pull them in with small group or one-on-one time. And we do that either virtually, or she does at times try to pull students in when we can have small amounts of students in the building. We analyze data from those assessments. We target instruction for those students. Ms. Hess plans and delivers lessons in calendar math that reinforce the main content lesson. So she is, that's her regular ed, I guess you'd say, teacher role in our collab. She takes those skills in the calendar math and they reinforce the whole group content lesson, and she plans all of those lessons for the entire class. And then, like I said, we bring in small groups of students when we can to deliver personalized instruction.
Thank you, Tiffany. And so do we still have Nikki? I'm going to go back to Miss Porter here. Yes, Nikki, you're here.
I'm here. My name is Nikki Waldeck, and I'm a math teacher at LaRue County High School. I mostly teach seniors for the most part, and actually co-teach with Ashley Cottrell, who spoke earlier. So I feel like with seniors, it's always a struggle, but right now particularly it's a struggle because most of our seniors wanted to work like for money, in a job instead of do their schoolwork. So I really want to find a better way to develop authentic, math lessons that are accessible to all of them and that they see the value in, because I think a lot of times that is what our real struggle is, even in the classroom. But they play along with us in the classroom because we're there and, we're in close contact, close proximity. I have great relationships with these kids. So for the most part, we did well to stay in contact, at least intermittently. But again, it was really hard to sell it, that they needed to complete these, even if just for their diploma, because they're like, why am I doing this? You know, they just do not see the value in it. So obviously bigger picture there, but that just became more of a struggle virtually. Providing the right supports for students and families, like everybody's got unique needs and things like that. Some kids had more support than others. Some were completely independent, and, you know, there's just different needs there. And really providing true differentiation combined with, you know, timely instruction and feedback so that they can succeed and we are not also drowning, you know, in all the management of that. Some success I've had through virtual learning was choice boards. When I gave them some choice boards, they did find some authenticity in that. They liked that a lot. So I found it a little difficult to connect to content a lot of times towards the end of the year because it was a little more, you know, higher level rigorous content. So we had to adjust there as much as necessary, but they did well. They did well with it. Using what I know about them, you know, my relationships, that really was key to being able to get them to do what they needed to do and also maintain contact. The last thing, I really don't know if it's successful yet, but I'm really excited to try it because because I teach senior math, I will do coyote interventions and we focus heavily on the calculator strategies. So I've created some digital breakouts to kind of allow them to break out of each level of intervention. And we're going to use these digital badges as a reward, which can, you know, it serves a purpose in, you know, giving them something to work towards and also a way for us to kind of see where they're at, you know, on their little wall of fame or whatever with their digital badges. I hope that this will create a little bit of sense of perseverance, you know, because they are going to be maybe at least have a desire to push through to break out of, you know, and find that code. So that's what I hope to see. So I don't know, we'll follow up next time on how it goes.
Kudos to you, Nikki, for trying something new. That is wonderful. So I'm going to go back to Kim here. We have, and Kim is the last one. Correct me if I am mistaken. Here we go, Miss Kim. Oh, wait, I'm not sharing my screen yet, am I? Sorry. Here we go.
Okay, well, I'm Kim Porter, and I teach at South Hancock. So I work with a lot of the ladies that are on here today. I am kind of different because I'm a 2-3. I'm general ed, and teach all areas. But because I'm the 2-3, I work with Miss Hess for my second graders, and then I work with Miss Amy Carmen for my third graders. So I work with both teachers, and so I've been very fortunate to get to see a lot of different ideas and different ways to do things. And I also team teach with Casey Baker, who presented, I think, first today. And we kind of have split our content where I focus mostly on math and she focuses mostly on reading, but we do help each other with both areas there. The biggest struggle really is just making sure that the students are getting all the content that they need with the two different grade levels, and to make sure we're providing appropriate accommodations, you know, that we're not giving too much, because they do need to learn how to work some independently moving on up into the intermediate grades. But are we still meeting their needs through those modifications? And then differentiation throughout the content, especially with the virtual hybrid. Scheduling is the biggest issue with the co-teaching, because of course we kind of have splits all over the place. Like Miss Tyndall said earlier, you know, Miss Hess is working with 3 different teachers. And then with the flip-flopping we've done this year from virtual to hybrid to virtual, it's like a week. I mean, we're going week by week. So one week we're in hybrid and one week we're virtual. And so the scheduling has just been really difficult. Using the internet versus paper pencil for the primary, you know, when you have so many kids that do not have access to the internet, how much paper pencil do we provide and how much do we rely on the internet? Some of the things we've done that have been successful this year is Casey and I set consistent times for our Google Meets and our small groups. So whether we are virtual or we are in the classroom, our reading live meet is at 10 o'clock every day. So, and then our math live is at 1:30 every day. So that when we're doing the flip-flopping, the kids still know at 10 o'clock every day I have this lesson with a teacher, and at 1:30 I have a lesson with a teacher. And then our reading groups are like her reading groups are at 12 and mine are at 12:30, so that the kids have a consistent time whether they are virtual or in the classroom. And so that's kind of helped some with our scheduling and being for our co-teachers to be able to join into those things because they know our times aren't changing. Then we're using core lessons, like Becky said, she's gone back to the journeys. We use the journeys text also as our core because then we can make sure everybody's getting those core skills. And then we break down into our Jan Richardson individualized learning. So then we're working with students on the level that they're on also. So they're getting both of those. They are being exposed to grade level content, but they are also getting independent level work also. Something that's been good for me is learning to use a lot of the apps. I am not a technology person whatsoever. And so just learning how to get onto Google Classroom. I'd never been on Google Classroom before. And so just learning all the things, I can look back and see what I've learned this year as a teacher. Using Cami, Screencastify. Amy just sent me a new one the other day that has some things to do with some worksheets. So just all the new things I'm learning that will benefit my students, even when all of this is over. And my biggest thing is just learning from those who know more than me. I don't know anything about this. So when Kira comes to my room and says, hey, I read this article and I want to try this new thing, you know, I have to be open to say, okay, let's try it. And learning from those that know more than I do about the subject.
Get it, Miss Porter. She's on it. That growth mindset, golly, it'll take you places. Thank you, guys. You have here our, well, I'm going to go back to share my screen. Am I? Yeah, I am. But I need to get out of this so you can see where we're at. We are getting ready to wrap up. So this is the resources that I was telling you about. Here, high school teachers, progress monitoring. There's a module here for you. This was created for the state, and we have a lot of consultants work on this. Katrinka and I were part of it. Get there, you'll get ideas on this one. So just click on the icon, and then we have a Google Classroom co-teaching COP. If you're not there yet, you can join our classroom. I have a website for growing inclusive practices, and then we have here another YouTube videos for co-teachers can do anything virtually, even co-teach. Here we go. So we're gonna put you in breakout rooms real quick, just for 3 minutes. You will have there one person with you. Just share with them your biggest takeaway and listen to them, and then introduce yourself briefly prior to that, and then just thank them, and we'll get back to our whole group to have a raffle. Are we ready? I'm gonna open all rooms, and here you go. Let me know if you have trouble joining your breakout rooms. Because you might have your partner waiting there for you.
Hey, Grace, you can send me somewhere again.
Okay. I'm gonna put you to 11.
Okay.
Where are you right now? There you go, Katrinka.
Thank you.
All right, do we have everybody back? And Bobby's gonna get our raffle. We have 2 door prizes today, and it's this book that you see right there too. Your students, my students, our students. All of our consultants got a copy of this book at Greg, and we'd like to share it for 2 of our winners. Bobby? Hey, Bobby.
Hey, you ready for me to share?
I am.
Okay, you'll have to take off. You'll have to stop sharing your screen. Okay. Well, let me know. Can you see our wheel of fortune here?
We sure can.
Okay. Let's see if it will. Oh no! What happened? Oh, you've got to be kidding me. After all of that?
Now just hit the back arrow and just click on the wheel. You'll be good.
Oh my goodness. Oh, I'm so sorry, ladies and gentlemen. How about I just ruin what I had? I mean, I spent a lot of time.
That just confirms 2020 for everyone right there. That's how.
Doesn't it?
It just keeps going and going. It's running over.
Don't click start.
Oh, that's my problem, huh?
Yeah. Click on the
I
wheel.
thought you had to click start. This is why.
We were changing it up for 2021. Yeah.
There we go. So we have 2 winners we're going to choose. Meredith?
Meredith, are you here? I don't know if she's here, but
she
go ahead
here?
and spin for our second one. I don't think she is.
Kim Cruz. Make
Hey,
sure that
Kim.
you
I'm here.
private message Grace your mailing address or your school address, whichever one you would like your book sent to.
Okay.
One more.
Yeah, here we go. Michaela. Yay!
I'm here.
Yay.
Yay.
Hey, Michaela, send me your address.
Thank you everyone for participating today. I know that we went long, and because of that, Katrinka has modified your PD credit to include an hour and a half instead of just an hour. So we hope that really helps.
Yes. So if you will use this bit.ly link or use the QR reader on your phone or your device, when you submit this, your certification, your certificate, I'll get the word out yet, will be emailed to you. Please check your spam folder just in case. If you don't receive it, just let me know and I'll make sure you get a copy. But yes, we did increase the time to 1.5 hours for PD credit for you. If you have any questions or have any difficulty with the link, let me know.
Thank you.
Thank you, Becky.
You're welcome.
Thank you, ladies, for joining us tonight. Bobby and Katrinka, you are awesome.
Thank you, Grace, for leading this.
Yes, thank you.
You're our team cheerleader.
Do y'all know that I can't do anything by myself anymore? Because I always have a co-teacher.
Maybe that's why I liked co-teaching so much. Otherwise it feels like a lonely sport.
Yes.
I don't think Vicky is still with us.
I don't think so
Okay.
either.
We can do y'all want to do debrief sometime tomorrow instead? I know it's already late.
I put her in the waiting room. I couldn't remove her.
All right, thanks, Bobby.
I tried to
Or do you-
remove her, but I couldn't. So I just put her in the waiting room. Is that okay?
Yeah, that's perfect. South College Street, Franklin. Do y'all have a minute or two to debrief,
Yes.
or you want to? Okay.
They have to
Yeah,
stop.
Katrinka
going.
can't do it tomorrow.
Oh, did you stop recording? No, I did the recording, so I can stop now.
Oops.